Hey, Greyhound fans, we have a special guest here today, Assumption University alum and former football player Mike Uva. I will let Mike get into his career and where it took him and where he is now, but I will say he is the director of digital content for GamecockCentral.com in Columbia, South Carolina. Mike, thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate it. It's been my first time back here in probably about a decade, actually listening to you do play-by-play and color commentating. That's where I got my start right after, so it's always special to be back at Assumption, but love the upgrades and love what Andy McKenzie's been doing with the program.
So I actually wanted to start with how you got started. I read about you started your own sports show here at Assumption. That seems to be a common trend for kids that want to get into sports media. You got to start it on your own. So with that, and how else did the school kind of help you get into that sports media industry?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. We created the TV show Sports Talk with Reality in the U right here on campus here in the Media Center, and it turned into a 3-year project, and it was we worked with a lot of great people, a lot of great professors behind the scenes, and just people that worked in the Media Center like Tom Burke and Ted Haley. I mean, we worked with so many amazing people. It was incredible to be able to do that while juggling football because it was a lot. Ted and Tom could tell you there's many nights that I slept down there, but it also taught me the skills that I needed in terms of just being able to learn the little things on my own in comparison to when you do go to a bigger school, when you have an opportunity to go to a broadcasting school. I didn't have the chance to do that. I learned the skills hand-on with a lot of those guys, and it was a tremendous opportunity. Wouldn't change it for the world.
I love it. So talk me through your career so far. Right now in South Carolina, you've also had stints here in Boston with WBZ as a sports anchor reporter. So just talk me through Assumption to where you got today.
Yeah, right after college, I worked at ESPN Boston covering high school sports in this state. Did a little color commentating and play-by-play for Assumption. From there, got my first TV job down in Greenville, Mississippi. Was there for about 15 months. Moved to Columbia, South Carolina in 2016. Was there for 5 years. The Gamecock Central job came up, which, as we know, streaming continues to grow. So I moved over, did the same things I did for TV for them. And then about a year ago, WBZ in Boston, they reached out. They said, hey, how would you like to cover the Patriots for a season? It was a temporary job. It was incredible doing that, covering Bob Chesney, my old college coach, who's now at Holy Cross, and the season that they had, and obviously the job he's been able to do since getting there. So to be able to juggle both jobs last year was a lot of work, but it was a dream come true, and maybe we'll be back up in Boston one day.
That's a good transition. Let's talk about football. So you played here for Assumption. You played for Bob Chesney, as you mentioned, the program now being led by Andy McKenzie. And the two of them have kind of transitioned this program to be a powerhouse in the NE10. You know, last year they get their third ever NE10 title. So talk me through your experience playing here and now watching them today, like how the program has become as big of a powerhouse really as it has.
Yeah, I remember when I first got here, my head coach was Corey Bailey, and we really were able to create the foundation. I mean, we take a lot of pride. Last night I was at a wedding with a lot of college teammates. We were talking about it. 2010, we were able to start the year off 4-0. We're the only team that year since then that has beat an FCS program. We beat 2 FCS programs in a span of 4 games. We beat Fordham and we beat Wagner, and it was incredible. And to see what's gone on since then, the players they've been able to recruit, obviously Bob Chesney did a tremendous job as well, and Andy's done a good job of keeping it going. It's a lot of fun to watch it. But we take tremendous pride in terms of knowing where the program was and seeing how it's took off, and obviously the incredible upgrades over the years. And big shout out to not only an Assumption alum, but also being a St. John's Prep guy, Brian Kelly. He's from St. John's Prep. Shout out to Brian Kelly for everything he's done, him and his family, to make the field, not just for football players, but for all student athletes here on the old multi-sport stadium, be able to have a tremendous opportunity when they play college sports at Assumption.
Mike, when I was doing a bit of research on you, I was a bit impressed. Not one, you have 2 sportscasting Emmys. I mean, I didn't even know there was an Emmy for sportscasting, and you have 2 of them. Just tell me about that experience, like finding out you're nominated, finding out you've won, and just how great did that feel?
Oh, it was incredible, especially, like I said, the fact that a lot of the things that I had to do, it was kind of on my own here, right? We didn't go to a big broadcasting school, didn't have the internships because I was doing football in the spring football. And I was very fortunate. One story that I always tell people is my senior year. It was 2013 when the Red Sox won that World Series that year. Bob Chesney changed the entire schedule for practice that day because mainly I was special teams. And he had all the special team stuff at the beginning so that I could go to Boston to interview Jared Saltalamacchia. And it was really neat to be able to do that. I know Tom's recording. He's like, he couldn't say that name back then. I could say it now. So it was neat to be able to do that, but it's just another example of not just your professors, but coaches as well being very supportive of myself. I know so many other student athletes as well. And then again, just taking the lessons that I learned here. I got hurt more times than I can remember. and learning, like, every time that you got knocked down, it's like, all right, I'm not going to be the starter this year because I got hurt, got to build myself up. I apply those same skills to being at the media center until 2, sometimes 6, 7 in the morning. And I'd use those skills afterwards just to outwork everyone because I just was used to that mentality of, okay, no one's going to give you anything. That former injured football player all the time, you got to do it yourself. So I applied that, and, winning at the first one was nice. Winning the second one was really sweet, especially knowing that the only other Assumption alum that's won 2 is Dennis House, and he's been a tremendous supporter, even though he went to my rival high school. He went to Zavarian, but he's a little bit older than me.
I love it. I love it. And last question for you before I let you go. Again, when I was reading a bit more about you, you had a story about a $50 bill, and I thought it was very inspirational for kids that want to break into sports media. If you want to just share that with us.
Yeah, I got the idea from the Celtics, their 2007-2008 championship year. When they were playing the Lakers, they stashed a bunch of money inside the old Staples Center, and they said, hey, we're going to come back. Doc Rivers said, we're going to come back. We're going to get that money one day. We're going to play this team in the finals. And they did, and not only did they, but they won. So I got the idea when I went to WBZ, and this was probably about a decade ago. I got an envelope. I wrote a note on it with a $50 bill, and I said, one day I'm going to be back in this building to get it. I'm going to be a full-time employee here, or at least I'm going to be working here. And I was fortunate enough to do that. So I did something similar, maybe a little hint for anyone that lives in South and North. I don't know if you guys have heard about this stuff. A lot of the students in years past, going back to the 80s and 70s, a lot of them stuff in the ceiling. So if you're in North and South, go check that out. I know my dorm room, North 306, we stuffed a bunch of stuff up there. Not money, sorry, but go check those ceilings out. But yeah, I mean, that was something that I did, and it was a constant reminder of I want to get back and grab what's mine, which was that 50. Unfortunately, they didn't do any renovations, and some guy named Bob, like an electrician, got the $50 bill to go buy some drinks. So fortunately, it was still there.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me. It was great to learn about that insight, and I appreciate you being here,
Hey,
man.
keep enjoying it, man. Keep enjoying the journey. Enjoy doing stuff like this, and anyone that goes to Assumption, take advantage of just the small community. I mean, there's something special about it. When you go anywhere across the country and you see that Assumption A, or you see that Greyhound logo, it sticks out to you. It is special after you leave here. So very grateful for my time here.
Matt LaBostonera with Mike Uva. Greyhounds up 17-7 when we come back.